evening, Bahamas. I'm Vonique Toot, and this is NB12 for Tuesday, April 17th, 2012, broadcasting from the Cable 12 studios on Robinson Road. In news tonight, it's nomination day. We take you from North Abaco to Cat Island as those seeking public office nominate. Students and teachers at C.H. Reeves remember the 12-year-old boy shot and killed over the weekend. Customs and immigration officers say they're going back to work. Find out why. Plus, police recruits tell us why they signed up. We have those stories and much more coming up tonight. Your NB12 starts right now. The excitement of election season building today as more than 100 candidates nominated for the 38 constituencies ahead of the May 7th general elections. While some candidates arrived at the respective nomination centers with just a handful of supporters, others showed up in grand style, leading motorcades filled with hundreds of party faithfuls. We begin our team coverage tonight with Candia Dames in North Abaco, where Prime Minister Hubert Ingram nominated for an 8th consecutive time.
Prime Minister Ingram has been elected for the North Abaco constituency for 7 consecutive terms. He pointed out that during that period, the geographic makeup of this area has never changed. Ingram nominated here at the administrator's office in Cooperstown, just across the street from his home, after he led a motorcade from Treasure Key with enthusiastic FDM supporters. Ingram arrived to much fanfare. He drove himself and his wife Dolores to the nomination center. When they arrived, they greeted supporters who cheered all along the route. The Prime Minister then entered the office for the formalities. He signed the necessary documents, and he paid his deposit with 4 Bahamian $100 notes, all while supporters who had crammed the room looked on. Outside, the Prime Minister greeted more supporters right after they literally rolled out a red carpet for him to stand on. The Prime Minister said this will be his last time running in North Abaco.
I came back because I was asked to come back by the people. I provided service, and I'm going to offer myself to them for this one final time. And this will be the 8th time I would have offered myself to Abaco and the Bahamas. And I'm delighted for the tremendous support which I continue to have throughout the constituency.
PLP leader Perry Christie told us earlier in this term he would not serve a full term if he is re-elected Prime Minister. But Christie later had a change of heart on that matter. Well, we asked Ingram today if he intends to serve a full term if he is re-elected.
Why would somebody ask people to vote for them 4 or 5 years?
True.
And then in the middle of it, change their mind. From the Bahamas point of view, they should believe the first story Christie told.
That's right.
And that is, if he gets elected, he will follow through and leave quickly.
Yeah.
Because they don't want him.
They don't want him. You know that. I know that.
You can see that in the posters they put up, that they are seeking to push the PLP and seeking to hide Christie as much as they could. But we're not going to let Christie hide. We're going to put him up there.
Put him up.
Ingram also pointed out that a constitutional referendum would be needed to provide for a fixed election date. He responded again to such a call, which has been made a lot in recent times.
When this glib conversation takes place about fixed election dates, I just want the facts to be known to the public of the Bahamas. All right? It is not me who decide that. This is a system put in place by the founders of the Bahamas, who happened to be the PLP at the time. They created this. They had this for 6 times when Pillin was alive. When Perry was in office, he had it. It was okay then. Now that Ingram is Prime Minister, they want to change it.
The Prime Minister also fielded questions from Guardian Radio, which provided live coverage of Nomination Day across the country today. Perry Christie just said in the program that he expects to form the next government of the Bahamas on May 8th. What is your response to that?
I just responded.
Now, Christie has said repeatedly in recent times that Ingram is in a fight for his political life and will lose this constituency to the PLP's candidate. Well, the Prime Minister responded to that today amid cheers from F&M supporters. He chuckled and dismissed that statement as a joke. Reporting from North Abaco for NB12, I'm Candia Dames.
Bernardo Curry from the Progressive Liberal Party and Soneth Lockhart from the Democratic National Alliance are going up against Prime Minister Ingram. Back here on New Providence, Progressive Liberal Party leader Perry Christie, F&M candidate Ella Lewis, and DNA candidate Chelly Moss all put their deposits down and were nominated this morning. Paige Ferguson takes it from here.
Hundreds of supporters came out here to Centerville Primary School today to cheer on their party leader Perry Christie as he was officially nominated to run in this constituency.
A motorcade escorted PLP leader Perry Christie from his Mount Royal Avenue campaign headquarters to Centerville Primary, where the leader, flanked by his family, paid his nomination deposit with all Blue Marlin notes. Centerville has long been a PLP stronghold, with Christie having already won in the past 7 contests. Today, he said he's confident he will be leading the country after the upcoming election.
The country, I think, will be confident and comforted by the fact that I'm going to be in charge. And that is my hope, obviously. It is the intention of my party to work hard to ensure that. And so therefore, for the purposes of looking forward, I'm actually speaking now as if I am now in a position to be in charge of the government of the country. And that is why I'm doing it. And so for me, I think the one point I would like to make is that I am confident, and I'm confident because I know I'm personally equipped to lead the recovery of the Bahamas. And I believe people will see that from day one.
DNA candidate Chelly Moss showed up first to the nomination center with only one supporter. He said he feels great to be nominated, and he also challenged his opponents to a debate.
Centerville Farm Road has been depressed by the representation of Mr. Christie for too long. As a matter of fact, it feels so good that right here in my pocket, I have 2 envelopes with a letter, an invitation to a debate, the issues of Centerville. One for Ms. Ella Lewis and one for Mr. Christie. You know, we need to start deepening the democracy in the Bahamas. Nobody wants to talk about the issues in Centerville. When you hear Mr. Christie speaks, he only speaks about being the Prime Minister of the Bahamas. He has no plan for Centerville. My only issue is I just want to be the MP of Centerville.
Christie immediately dismissed the challenge.
I was prepared to debate Hubert Ingram and even Randall McCartney. Those days are past, long past. This is now about preparing to govern the country. Mr. Moss, I'm going to call his name. It's going to be the first and it's going to be the last time I call his name. Mr. Moss is not in this, quite frankly. You know, maybe another time, another place, but he's not in this one. All right.
F&M candidate Ella Lewis showed up to nominate with her band of supporters right after Moss. She said she believes this second time around running in Centerville will be successful for her because her support base has expanded. She also denied Moss's debate challenge.
We have a responsibility to see every single candidate in this constituency, and that is our objective, to meet every resident, every voter, and to make sure we look at their needs.
Even though school was in today, teachers and administrators allowed all the students at the school to participate in the festivities if they wanted to. They were seen screaming and shouting, PLP, PLP, Perry Christie.
Christie said he is energized when he sees even young Bahamians take an interest in the nation's politics. He said they are who the PLP is all about.
And Christie says right now he's focused on winning that race. He says as a former athlete, he knows what it's like to get up early and prepare and train for a long race. And so now we'll just have to wait and see how things turn out at the general election in about 2 weeks. Reporting for NB12, I'm Paige Ferguson.
The Democratic National Alliance made history today It is the first major party since independence other than the PLP and FNM to nominate a full slate of candidates in a general election. Following his nomination today, the party's leader, Granville McCartney, said his candidates are now working hard on the ground to make history once again on Election Day. Charisma Robinson reports.
Democratic National Alliance leader and incumbent member of parliament for the Bambootown constituency, Granville McCartney, was the last to arrive at Halton's E. Francis Primary School to nominate this afternoon. Surrounded by his family and a crowd of supporters, the DNA leader presented his documents and payment, making his candidacy official.
History to make it.
And that was the end of a joyous march from a crowd of DNA supporters out in support of a confident McCartney, who told reporters that he's not at all concerned about the other candidates in the race for the Bambootown seat.
No concerns at all. I've been there for 5 years. I'm looking forward to being there for another 5 years, God willing.
McCartney is running against two so-called political heavyweights. The first is the Free National Movement's Cassius Stewart, who led his former Bahamas Democratic Movement Party into the 2002 and 2007 general elections, but lost.
This has been a historically Free National Movement seat. It has proven time and time again, and we will retain the seat.
And the Progressive Liberal Party's Renwood Wells, who is the former leader of the National Development Party. Attorney Craig Butler is also a contender. He once sought a nomination from the PLP before making a decision to run as an independent candidate. Stuart Wells and Butler are confident and each said that they have something unique to offer to the people of Bambootown.
I did this interview 3 times before in a different color. Now I'm in another color. Yes, it's a breath of fresh air. It's a relief as well too. Coming into a bigger party with more strength, with more energy, with more support, and so it gives you a greater impetus. And you know, we worked hard in the past and we are continuing to work hard. We just get more fire behind us.
We need Project Safe Bahamas that the PLP has put out. We are going to deliver for the Bahamian people health, wealth and safety after May 7th.
We're also going to deal with launching Operation Second Chance to try to deal with the crime. If you want to deal with crime in a real and tangible way, those people who have gone to prison and have served their time and have paid their debt to society, we cannot throw them away. We must find a way to reintroduce them into mainstream society.
From the looks of things, Wells had the largest crowd of supporters accompanying him, but McCartney says he's done enough work on the ground to secure his seat.
We want to continue what we've started. We want to grow those programs. We want to grow the community. We want to make Bambootown and continue to make Bambootown the best town in the Bahamas.
And with only 20 days to go to the May 7th general election, both the FNM and PLP have kicked their campaigns into high gear with mass rallies. McCartney insists that the issues facing this country are far too great to be concerned about rallies.
It's about the crime rate we have. That's the worst we've ever had in our history. The illegal immigration problem is the worst we've ever had. The educational system is certainly not working. And the economy, as you know, we have over 30,000 persons out of a job.
Now the DNA will hold its last street meeting tomorrow night. The party will hold rallies for change starting Thursday in the east, west, south, and north. Reporting for NB12, I'm Charisma Robinson.
In the southern Bahamas, PLP Deputy Leader Philip Brave Davis was one of 3 candidates officially nominating themselves to represent Cat Island, Rum Cay, and San Salvador residents after May 7th. Christina McNeil was there as residents welcomed the candidates with open arms. Here's her report.
Nomination day, a rather peaceful one here on San Salvador, as candidates for Cat Island, Rum Cay, and San Salvador each took their turns completing the nomination process at the island administrator's office. FNM candidate Michael Pintard was the first to complete the nomination process this morning. Pintard, who was on San Salvador overnight, says the process was a quick one. Meanwhile, DNA candidate Sean Francis says the process was a bit tedious, as this is his first run in politics.
The persons who came with me were enthusiastic. We were quiet. We believe the real work is done door to door, and we submitted the paper, paid the deposit. The process was over, and we are back to knocking on doors, which is what I was doing prior to you coming to the office.
process was an arduous one. It required that we get a number of signatures from citizens in your constituency. We also had a disclosure letter stating that contractual agreements between doing work for the various government agencies, we denounced that. We in the DNA denounced it, yes.
Shortly after Francis wrapped up, incumbent MP and PLP deputy leader Philip Brave Davis and dozens of PLP supporters marched down Queens Highway from the party headquarters to the administrator's office. Immediately after Davis completed the process, a cheer erupted from the crowd as they lifted him on their shoulders. The three candidates say they all have big plans for this constituency.
Residents are grateful that they are finally having an opportunity to have a discussion with somebody who wishes to represent them, to talk about the range of issues that affect them. They're also hungry for information. I have time to spend addressing the issues that concern them, like the extension of water services on this island to Long Bay and Sugarloaf, like the transformation of the ecotourism and heritage tourism aspect of the economy here.
In the House of Assembly, we just got to cater to the needs of the constituents. For example, I drove the whole island today. I see the roads and I see some of the lights are still out, still damaged from Hurricane Irene. And a number of joblessness. I mean, young people coming out of high school and just dormant sitting, don't have any jobs.
Davis, however, says his record speaks for itself, with investments in the infrastructure, economy, education, and health of the constituents on all three islands.
It is one thing for them to go and say that he may not have done enough. And that's because I may not have done what they wanted me to do. But that's one thing, and let's put that aside. But the truth of the matter, let's look at the record. And let's vote for me on my record. And as I tell someone, you may not have seen me as often as you may wish, but you surely felt me by what we would have done in the communities. They say I do nothing for the constituency. Well, let's ask them. The F&M they have been in government 15 of the last 20 years. What have they done?
San Salvador residents welcomed the candidates with enthusiasm, ready to cast their ballots for their next member of parliament. Political candidates reminding party supporters to be respectful in the days and weeks leading up to the general election. Reporting in Coburn Town, San Salvador for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.